Hello and welcome back to the Sports Sermon. I'm Dylan Staggy.
I'm Jason Gotti.
I'm Dave Majors. I'm John Majors.
And I'm Zach Munson.
And we are back today for our second fantasy football podcast of the year. So today we are talking about the running back position. We have a few questions, and then we will rank our top five reaches, top 5 steals, and our top 10 running backs overall. We'll have a full top 30 running backs from all of us coming out on our website soon. So follow us on Twitter. The link is in the description to see that. So first question, is Ameer Abdullah worth drafting this year? Jason, what do you think?
He's a running back 30 on ESPN. Yes, I would draft him, but the question is how much value does he bring? I think PPR, he's a fringe running back too. And in standard, he's a good flex, if not come off the bench option. So he's a perfect fit in Jim Bob Cooter's system and should be the number one back behind an upgraded offensive line. Like I said, in PPR, he should be able to split out wide for quick routes, but also check down screens, etc. But I know, especially our two Notre Dame fans over here, Theo Riddick, he's a pass-catching back, which raises concern of his value. But I believe that if Abdullah can provide a rushing attack, they will draw up passing plays for him and limit Riddick's production. But I think there's a definite case to be made for Riddick and why people should draft over him. But the way I look at it is he's a popular breakout candidate among analysts. I need to see more than 2 games of production without him getting hurt. But I'm confident with him as my flex, but I'm not confident in RB2. But Theo Riddick's my only concern.
Right now, I'd say no. I wouldn't bet on his health. And like Jason said, he's got Theo Riddick right there with him.
I'd also say no. Fumbles too much, not enough production coming off an injury in Theo Riddick. Theo Riddick's going to take too many carries and too many passing opportunities. So I'd take Riddick over Ameer Abdullah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point is the fumbling. Abdullah had a problem in college and now in the pros of fumbling. If he can't get that straight, he's not going to see the field.
He has to stay healthy. He was hurt in college. He's hurt in the pros just 2 seasons in.
Yeah.
I don't see him staying healthy.
Me either.
I would 100% draft Ameer Abdullah. Right now, as of now, he's listed as number 1 in the depth chart, so I don't know why you wouldn't draft a running back 1 on a team. Second of all, we all know about his passing catches. He gets more touches passing than he does running in most games. And as we saw in his 2 games last year, especially against the Colts, him and Theo Riddick basically took turns against the defense and destroyed the Colts offense, which the Colts defense trash, but I think that could be another situation this year where they just basically go back and forth, switching as the pass-catching running backs. I like Ameer Abdullah a lot. I think he is a good flex option or a bench option, like Jason said. I can see him as a running back 21 to 26 on my board, so I would definitely draft him.
I'm just confused because you said like he's the number 1. Why would you not draft him? Then you also said that him and Riddick split time in the 2 games he played.
That's exactly.
And if he's coming off a bad year hurt year, and Riddick had a pretty solid productive season, why would they not lean toward giving Riddick at least snaps in the beginning until Abdullah proves himself? And you don't want somebody that's not getting less than half the snaps in the beginning of the season.
No, I trust his pass-catching ability. I think he can grab a lot of...
That's what Riddick brings, though. That's what
Ameer Abdullah does the same exact thing, too.
No, Riddick will be the pass-catching back.
Yeah.
That is like a
Riddick
fact.
splits out wide a lot, too, because he's that good at catching. He was a wide receiver at Notre Dame.
He will be he will be the pass-catching back. There's not a debate there. I just don't know if... Like, that's where I think the debate is it worth drafting somebody that might not be on the field half?
Well, I'm definitely drafting a running back who's number 1 on their team depth chart.
He might be number 1, but if he plays less than half the snaps, it doesn't matter what he's ranked on the depth chart.
He will play a lot.
You care more about the depth chart than how many snaps he plays. You care more about where he is on the depth chart than how many snaps he plays.
He will play plenty of snaps.
You just said he's going to switch off with Riddick.
So then you're going to draft Riddick? I can draft Riddick?
Yes!
Okay, but they split carries.
In a PPR, you're going to draft Riddick.
I know, but if you're going to draft Riddick and they split time, why would you not draft Ameer Abdullah?
Because he has value as a pass-catching back.
If one of them if Theo Riddick goes down, Ameer Abdullah suddenly becomes a great option. If Ameer Abdullah goes down, Theo Riddick suddenly becomes a great option, running back 2.
Yeah.
See, that's why
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Gets hurt all the time against somebody else. Riddick will come.
I think you should be drafted too. I'm not arguing with you. I'm saying though, you can't tell me he's definite drafted, like no doubt, when he's playing half the snaps. But like, I'm not drafting him to be somebody's backup. You're not going to draft any other backup. Like, just because you play, I'm not drafting.
He's a flex who, if his partner gets injured, he has running back 2 upside. That's why I'm going to draft him.
I'm just saying there's
I don't
not
know what
many
your
other-
problem is with
There's
that.
not many other
It's
teams
my
that are going to
opinion.
draft their backup.
Yeah, Abdullah has more of a chance of getting hurt than Riddick. Though.
Exactly.
Okay, whoa, he's a little bit more chance. What's your
So I
point?
take it.
So why would you not? Take
Yeah,
Riddick
I'm
over-
drafting both. I don't know what your
What's-
problem is.
You said you would take Abdullah over Riddick.
Yeah, but I'm drafting both. No, I'm saying if they're available like late
I
rounds,
think our
I'm drafting.
argument is why you're saying you take Abdullah over Riddick, and all three of us are saying I would take Riddick over Abdullah.
Okay.
I'm saying I draft both, but what I'm arguing, at least, I don't know if you guys are agreeing with me, I would take Riddick before I took Abdullah.
I would-
do the same thing, but I would not draft them anywhere close to running back 21 to 20.
Exactly. I didn't like the RB30.
I would take Abdullah over Theoretic.
Dylan, what do you have to weigh on this?
I-
Weigh in on this.
I like Abdullah a little more than Riddick, mostly because the Lions didn't draft a running back, and they want Amir Abdullah to be the guy running the ball. Obviously, Riddick's going to catch balls, he's going to come in on third downs, and he's going to get a lot of touches, especially in PPR leagues, he'll be great. But Abdullah, he has a lot of explosiveness and a chance to be a really good running back. I still remember in the preseason, before his rookie year, everyone thought he was going to be absolutely great. He had a couple of awesome runs. He's shown explosiveness. The question just is he going to stay healthy? But I like Amir Abdullah as a maybe first guy off the bench kind of option. Definitely not a guy that you should probably start at least right away, but he has some potential to become a starting running back.
I think this is what me, Dan, and John are just saying is that, like, if I have to pick one, at least as in the draft, maybe by week 8 you see okay Abdullah's better, but if it comes down to week 1 and your draft, like, okay, I'm gonna go more confident with Riddick, who can run the ball fine, is a known pass catching back, and is going to play because he doesn't have injury concerns. Those
Also-
3 facts, to me, it's more of a safety pick than taking somebody that has injury concerns, has shown production for 2 games, and wasn't great his rookie year. He was terrible his rookie year.
Also, the Lions throw the ball a lot more than most teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I do think, though, on the other side is that Abdullah does fit Jim Bob Cooter's system. I think he's a good fit for that. But I think Riddick is a good fit for that, too. And because he doesn't have any injury concerns, I'm feeling more confident taking Riddick over Abdullah.
I just don't see a lot of upside in Riddick. I think Amir Abdullah has more upside to be a running back too.
But also more downside. Do you agree with that? He's got a lot more downside if he gets
Yeah.
hurt. Okay.
Yeah.
I think so. You're more of like the boomer bust type thing with Abdullah.
I could
That's what.
I'm
Yeah,
feeling-
that's why I'm
feeling
drafting
the
him.
safety pick and Riddick, where you know you're going to get 6 to 8, 10 points every game.
You're going to get consistency with Riddick. It's
Exactly.
boomer bust with Abdullah.
That's
He might be worth
Yeah,
it.
I'm picking him in a later round as a boomer bust kind of player, not early on.
Okay, so let's move back up to the top of the draft. Who should go number 1? Le'Veon Bell or David Johnson? Jason, what do you think?
I'm David Johnson. I think that he just provides I think it's the same thing. He provides the safe, you know what you're getting in David Johnson. He's 3rd among running backs in receiving yards since 2015. He's played all 16 games in his first 2 years. Le'Veon's already missed 20. And 20 touchdowns is greater than 9 touchdowns, and the Cardinals had a down year. I think everyone expects the Cardinals offense to be back up. And when he already had 11 more touchdowns than Le'Veon Bell, yes, I know Le'Veon missed 4 games, but you can't say that's a fluke when it's happened a bunch of times these last few years. Don't get me wrong, I love Le'Veon Bell. He's a Spartan. I love him. But when he can't stay on the field, and he's almost consistent at not being on the field for all 16 games, I'm going with the guy that's been on the field all 16 games for his entire career, and he would have definitely got over the 1,000 mark for receiving yards if he didn't get hurt in Week 17 in like the second quarter. So, I mean, I just like David Johnson as a consistent, you know you're getting 100-plus yards and probably a few touchdowns, and I just like David Johnson. And the number 1 pick, you don't want to have a boomer bust. You want to know you're getting the guy.
All right, I'm also David Johnson for the number 1 pick. He has less injury history. Like Jason mentioned, he'll have a bigger role. Last year he had 293 rushing attempts and 80 catches. He is a number 2 wide receiver and a number 1 running back. That's what Le'Veon Bell said, that he wants to get paid like. But David Johnson, I think, is a better version of that for the Cardinals. He has less career carries, although he did have more last year. And he's more of a touchdown guy. Le'Veon Bell struggled to get in the end zone last year. Only 7 rushing touchdowns and 2 catching. I think David Johnson is the better guy at number 1.
Yeah, and we heard Arians say in March that he wants to get Johnson 30 touches a game, and he's too young to overuse. He is going to get all of the work in Arizona with Andre Ellington. I mean, Andre Ellington's been switched to a receiver now. Like, he's obvious the number 1 guy.
And they brought back Chris Johnson, but I don't think Chris Johnson's going to overtake his carries or anything. He is the guy.
More touchdowns. The running back position is made for David Johnson, and he has no injury history, so that's why I think we're taking David Johnson. But wait, before I let you guys go, I want to make it very clear that I think both of us are not complaining if you go Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
No one's going to be like, what are you thinking with Le'Veon Bell? It's just we lean David Johnson. Don't want everyone to be like, oh my gosh, Le'Veon Bell's not terrible or anything like that.
Yeah.
We just think David Johnson's that much. Like, it's nitpicking a little bit better.
You're a winner with either.
Exactly.
Really.
Exactly.
You honestly just can't go wrong with either one. I think it's like a 1A, 1B kind of thing. But I'd take Bell. It's like Johnson. He had a good year the year before that, 2 years ago. But I think last year he had a much better year. Bell has been good for a couple more years than Johnson, so I would take Bell right now instead of taking not a chance, but taking more of a chance than Johnson.
Johnson might be the safe number 1 pick, but I'm going to take a boom pick with Le'Veon Bell. I really like him, more all-around back, and I love his running style. His patience in the backfield is incredible. A lot of running backs are trying to imitate that, but Bell is so good at it. Also, Bell has more weapons on their team. Like, Ben Roethlisberger will throw everywhere with Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant, then Juju Smith-Schuster will also be there. So that will open up more holes for Le'Veon Bell, in my opinion, getting to the end zone.
Yeah, in one of my drafts, I do have the number 1 overall pick, so I am having this problem of who I should take. Honestly, you can't go wrong with both, like we said, and my mind will probably change like 10, 15 times before the draft happens. But right now, I'm leaning a little bit towards Le'Veon Bell, but I might go David Johnson in the draft. I like players with contract years. Obviously, the contract struggle with Le'Veon Bell and the Steelers. And I like how players in the contract year play for more money. And so that's why I take Le'Veon Bell, just simply because of that. But my mind could change.
I don't know. When John, you mentioned all the options that the Steelers have with Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant, all that, to me, I feel like that limits his fantasy production because you know Antonio Brown is the definition of consistent fantasy football player, and you know he's going to get 100 yards and a touchdown every now and then. Like, you know what Antonio Brown's going to give you, and I feel like that takes away from Le'Veon Bell, where David Johnson, if Fitzgerald or Palmer's not feeling it, you've still got the guy back here. And I just feel like that would be my only argument back would be just, you know that David Johnson's the guy, and you have Antonio Brown and Big Ben. And then to Zach's point about just like going back and forth, yeah, I agree. But I don't know about the contract. You're like, Le'Veon's going to get paid a bunch of money, and like I feel like he's in a different situation. It's not a contract where he has to prove himself. I feel like he's already proven himself, where he doesn't need to play for more money because he's already proven how much money he's worth.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think you can put 7 or 8 guys in the box and try and defend Le'Veon Bell. You can't have one guy covering Antonio Brown and get screwed over for him going over the defense in the secondary and scoring so many touchdowns. So they're going to have to double team on one side, Bryant on the other, Juju Smith-Schuster, and they really have to rely on those wide receivers. So the box is going to be open. And with his patient running style, he's going to get holes.
Yeah, I see that. I think like even looking back at the Cardinals, though, you got Fitzgerald, John Brown, J.J. Nelson. Where like it's obviously not close to the amount of receivers that the Steelers do, but I feel like that's enough. I mean, you can't leave Fitzgerald open. Everyone knows that. J.J. Nelson can take the top off the D at any moment, and John Brown can do the same thing. He's a good route runner in between. So I don't know. I just think I think Steelers' passing game is definitely more dynamic. You have to respect it more, but at the same time, the Cardinals is respectable enough where it should open up holes.
Do you guys think that David Johnson's season could rely on how well Carson Palmer does this year? Like, do you think he'll take a step back and that could?
I personally don't, just because we saw how bad Palmer played last year and he still played phenomenal. So even if Palmer plays better, that can only be good for David Johnson, in my opinion.
Yeah, and also in the red zone, David Johnson got 53 rushing attempts in the red zone and got 14 touchdowns. Also was a second receiver and the second receiver with the most targets in the red zone with 13. For Le'Veon, he only had 30 rushing attempts and 8 targets in the red zone for passing. So I think David Johnson's really the guy in the red zone for the Cardinals because really it's Fitzgerald and him. No one else is really big enough to go up and try to muscle their way into the end zone. But let's move on to Jordan Howard. He had a breakout year last year, drafted in the 5th round out of IU. He's the guy for the Bears. He's where their offense begins and ends, although it's not saying much because the Bears are terrible on offense. But will he repeat his breakout season from last year? Zach, what do you think?
Well, I got Jordan Howard as a top 10 running back. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's pretty scary. I think he could, if you're going to pick, have a list of running backs that could have a Todd Gurley type of second year, with a great rookie campaign and then fall off in the second year, I think Jordan Howard has to be on the top of your list. He's like Todd Gurley. He has a bad offense, bad quarterback. I don't think Mike Glennon or Trubisky are going to be great quarterbacks. And then coming off a great rookie performance, but Howard does have a better offensive line, a little bit better, which could help him. But I think he could be scary, but I think he still is a top 10 pick in late first or second round pick.
I don't know. I agree with the whole Todd Gurley comparisons, but at the same time, I know Dylan and I talked about this before. Howard's much more of a consistent back, where Gurley's rookie year, he was very based on 80-yard runs or 70-yard runs or whatever. He would definitely have such bigger plays out of the backfield where with consistency you really need 5, 6, 7, 8-yard carries, and I feel like you saw that a lot with Jordan Howard. Don't get me wrong, I don't think he's going to be as good as he was last year or anything because of the quarterback consistency, which is 0, and because of similarities, but I do think he will be better than Gurley was last year. And Zach, I mean, you fell victim to Todd Gurley.
Yeah, I picked him in basically all of my leagues.
Yeah, I mean, I remember him telling me all the time, "Hey, Gurley's my number 1 pick. There's no debate. He's going to go off." That's I guess with here we just don't fall victim to that trap again. I think Howard will be solid.
Where do you think he'll be?
Good. I think he'll finish as a top 15 back, but I don't think he'll be top 10, top 5. I think he'll be top 15.
Yeah, definitely not top 5.
He's not top 5.
Exactly.
Yeah, not top
5.
What's his ADP right now? 7 or 10 or 11 or something?
Running back
9?
7, I think.
Okay, yeah. So for me, that's too high at a 9 overall. I just don't like it. So actually, he's 15 overall, running back 8. I just looked it up, but yeah. So I don't like the pick there, but I think he'll be okay.
Wait, running back 15?
No, he's 15 overall,
yeah.
running back 8.
Okay, yeah.
He's running back 7 on ESPN.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I like Jordan Howard, like everybody said. That's all they have in him. I think he'll have a good year. Not as good as last year, but top 10, top 15 guy.
Overall or running back wise?
Running back.
Running back, okay. So you take him in the second round?
Second, third. Yeah.
Okay.
I have the same thing as Dan. My only question is Mike Glennon at quarterback. That could possibly hurt him again. They could put 7 or 8 guys in the box.
Yeah.
Now I have to worry about wide receivers because who's their best
Cameron
receiver? Victor
Meredith's
Cruz.
Cameron Meredith's the only guy out there.
Yeah, Victor Cruz just got signed too in the offseason. He's not a real threat out there, so you can put a bunch of guys in the box and defend Jordan Howard. I think he'll have a good season. He's a safe pick. He's my number 9 running back.
Yeah, when the defense, when they go against the Rams or the Bears, you're just focusing on the running backs, so that could definitely hurt Jordan Howard and cause him to have a poor season.
I think that'll definitely hurt him. It's not going to do good if there's 8 guys in the box every play. But he's a consistent guy. He runs the ball. He's tough. He sticks in there for 4 quarters, unlike Todd Gurley, who in his rookie year, we all talked about him going for 80 yards in the first quarter every time, and he was just amazing. But Jordan Howard doesn't really have that. He's more of a consistent guy, and I think he'll still be able to survive, even though teams are going to have 7, 8 guys in the box every play trying to stop him. Let's move on to this year's rookie running backs. Which ones are worth drafting and why? Let's start with Jason. What do you have for these rookie running backs?
All right, guys. This is the start of where I love the rookie running back class.
I do
this year.
too.
Fournette, Cook, McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, Kareem Hunt, and Samaje Perine. I'm all drafting. Fournette, I love the Jags offense, and the offensive line's solid. Fournette should ball. Dalvin Cook has an easy schedule, and if he's the starter, he has potential. Christian McCaffrey complements Newton in the Panthers offense perfectly. McCaffrey, I am a huge fan of. Joe Mixon, people love him in Cincinnati, and if he's a starter, there is value. Kareem Hunt, Kansas City is very high on him and seems like he'll compete for the job. And that's the same as Samaje Perine in Washington. He got rave reviews in OTAs. And I think Hunt and Perine are kind of like the sleepers. But especially those first four with Fournette, Cook, McCaffrey, and Mixon, they're easily draftable and easily going to be, I think, should be stars of your team.
Yeah, this running back class is loaded. I love Leonard Fournette. I think he'll have a great year, in my opinion. McCaffrey won't be bad either, but a guy you should look at late, very late in the draft is James Conner. If Le'Veon Bell gets hurt, like you guys said, James Conner could be huge.
Yes, I'd draft these rookie running backs, but not early. I'd wait to take them. I love Christian McCaffrey. He's a threat at the backfield, catching the ball as well. Two guys to wait for in the end. Dalvin Cook, the two guy behind him was Latavius Murray. I don't think he'll really hurt him in the starting job. And then look out for Kareem Hunt. He's running back 44 on ESPN. Kareem Hunt said, or not Kareem Hunt, but the Chiefs said that he could possibly be the starter week 1. He's having that good of a camp. Spencer Ware will still fight for the job, but it looks like Kareem Hunt might come out. On top, also, Joe Mixon. I would not take Joe Mixon. Too many guys in that backfield with Bernard and Hill.
I would take Mixon, McCaffrey, Cook, Kareem Hunt, Samaje Perine, and even maybe Jamal Williams with a late pick. I think he's the number 2 running back behind Ty Montgomery right now. So if Ty Montgomery goes down, then you got a starter. So I love Joe Mixon this year. Amazing talent. I think that Jeremy Hill sucks. I think Giovanni Bernard gets injured a lot. I think they're all in on Joe Mixon. And I think that people could reach for him in the draft. And I like Christian McCaffrey this year, although I'm a little hesitant on him. I don't know how early I'd take him. I wouldn't take him with an early pick. I'd probably take a late round pick on him. But I do like Samaje Perine behind Robert Kelly, right? He's behind Robert Kelly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like Samaje Perine. I could take him late.
Yeah, I think I like all these rookie running backs, but there's concerns about all of them. For Fournette, the Jags are going to run the ball more, and he's the guy. But there is still 2 guys in the backfield with Chris Ivory and TJ Yeldon. For McCaffrey, he does have the benefit of the running and passing game, especially in PPR leagues, but it doesn't really fit Cam Newton's style to dump it off a ton. He doesn't like to dump it off, so I think that's a concern for McCaffrey. With Mixon, the Bengals still have 2 other running backs with Hill and Bernard who still produce pretty solidly. Mixon, I thought, was a little bit of a reach in the second round for the Bengals. I don't love Mixon, but he definitely is a boomer bust kind of guy. Dalvin Cook, I do like him, although the Vikings also did bring in Latavius Murray. I think Cook will overtake Murray, but that is a concern to look out for. Samaje Perine, Kareem Hunt, and James Conner. I like all 3 of those, especially if you're taking Rob Kelly, Spencer Ware, or Le'Veon Bell. You need to have those guys as handcuffs in case those number 1 running backs go down.
Did you guys see James Conner's leading Pittsburgh in jersey sales?
Yes,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
he
he's
might,
second overall.
he might not touch the field. He's gonna get so many. It's because of the whole story behind him. And,
Right.
Yeah,
He's
and
from
he's
Pittsburgh.
from
Yeah,
he went to
all
college
that
in
I think is so
Pittsburgh.
cool. It's just crazy that a guy that might not even touch the field this year is second overall in jersey sales. I don't know. I just want to throw that out there. But
Yeah,
what's next?
that was pretty cool. But our next question, sticking with the rookie running backs, will Leonard Fournette be the next Ezekiel Elliott or Todd Gurley this year? Jason, what do you think?
Okay, I already said it once. I am huge on the rookie running backs. I think he's going to be a star. But the weird thing is, I didn't think he would be in college. I thought Fournette would be average, and I think Dan or Dylan, I forget who I was talking to, in college, I'd always say, no, Dalvin Cook's the best running back out of the class. It's not Fournette. Fournette's overrated, all this. But since he got drafted with the Jags, I don't know. I love him more and more. And I think he's going to be – I think he'll have a similar year to Todd Gurley or Zeke in that first year. He won't have as much of a production, but I think he'll be a star. I have him finishing as a top 10 running back. And I don't know. I just really like Fournette and the Jags this year.
Did you take him early second round?
I'm taking him – I'm in my draft, I have the 4th and the 7th pick, and I am looking at him in my second round pick in both leagues.
Okay.
I will definitely agree with Jason here. He is just as good as Zeke and Todd Gurley
Yes.
coming out of college. Maybe even a better talent.
Mhm.
Zeke obviously has good talent, but he had a good line. I think Fournette will make up for that, and he will be a stud this year. Top 10 running back, in my opinion.
I don't think he'll have a great first year, but maybe in the next couple of years. He's on a bad team, bad offensive line, and they have too many guys getting carries with T.J. Yeldon, Chris Ivory, and him. So I wouldn't waste a second-round pick on him. I see some other guys that'll get a lot more production.
I like Fournette a lot this year. I think he's a top 10 running back in my books. He was a beast at LSU. We all know that. He's an every down running back, power, speed. He's everything you could ask for. And I don't think they're going to use their 4th overall pick in the draft and not use him a lot his first year. I think he's going to be a workhorse. I like him this year a lot. Top 10 running back in my opinion.
I think he has the potential to be top 10, but in terms of comparing him to Zeke or Todd Gurley, the problem is Fournette still has competition in the backfield with Chris Ivory and T.J. Yeldon. Zeke and Todd Gurley were the guy their first year. Leonard Fournette, although he was at the 4th pick, 2 other guys in the backfield, plus Blake Bortles isn't the best quarterback that's going to open up a ton of holes for him. I'm not as high on Leonard Fournette, but he definitely does have the potential to be a top 10 running back this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I just going back to the whole Jacksonville thing. Obviously, Dylan and I, if you've listened to the podcast, have many debates about Jacksonville versus Indianapolis. But just like looking purely at the running game, it's obvious the Jags don't buy into what they got in T.J. Yeldon. They've been very big on that last year, getting Ivory, and Ivory has injury concerns and is old and slow. I think Fournette balls. I mean, we remember last year. Oh, the Cowboys have Darren McFadden and Alfred Morris. Zeke's going to be like a rotation back. I think it's a similar situation. I don't know. I really like Fournette this year, but that might be a little overhyped. But I'm a big fan of the rookie running backs.
All right, let's move into our top 5 reaches this year. Guys to stay away from in your fantasy draft. Let's start off with Zach. Who do you have as your first reach?
So my first guy is we're talking about reaches here, so I think I'm gonna go with Marshawn Lynch. So I think some people could be thinking, oh, Marshawn Lynch, he's gonna be like he was the Seahawks, a beast, But I would slow down on that. I don't think he's gonna have as much production. Obviously, he took a year off from football. He's over 30, I think, 31 maybe. He's going pretty high in ADPs. I think he's at
25.
25, yeah. I don't know if I would take him that early. On ESPN, I think he's 13.
Yeah, he's running back 13, 26 overall.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I would definitely not take Marshawn Lynch as the 13th best running back at all. I would stay away from him, in my opinion.
All right, as the Raider fan, I also have Marshawn here. I just think he retired for a reason. Like, don't get me wrong, I hope he returns to full beast mode, but it's obvious, like, he didn't retire because he was bored. Like, obviously there's a reason, and I think there is concern that he might not have any juice left. And I mean, the big thing that Marcellus Wiley always says is, if you think about retirement, you're already retired. So it's obviously looming in his head, and I just am concerned about, especially at 26 overall. That's a 3rd round pick or a 2nd round pick, depending on how big your league is. I'm not trusting a guy that was retired last year as my 26th overall pick.
I can see people reaching for him.
I think people will.
Yeah, they
because
definitely
it's
will.
a big name. I mean,
Right.
Marshawn Lynch,
yeah.
take
I
him.
mean, you see that with Peyton Manning when he was in Denver his last year. I mean, there's always those guys that you know their names, so you draft them with not smart fantasy players. Yeah.
Yeah, he obviously hasn't played in forever, and the last time he did play, he didn't do that great, running for 3.8 yards per carry.
Yeah, I think he'll have a decent season. Nothing like when he was in Seattle. The
I-
thing that's going to help him is Derek Carr, a great quarterback, throwing all around the field, maybe open up some holes for him. But they need to just get him some Skittles, and he'll do all right.
Oh my gosh.
I think he'll go 600, 700 yards max. I don't think he'll be in a 1,000-yard back because we've got Jalen Richard, they've got DeAndre Washington, the pass catch, and be a 3rd down back. I like Marshawn like a 700-yard back.
Yeah, 700, 800 yards. I don't think there's any way he gets to 1,000 this year. He's 31.
Unless he's full beast mode. Maybe he comes back to full beast mode.
I don't think so.
I'm not betting on that.
He's over 30. We all know what happens to running backs when they get over 30 years old. Jalen Richard and DeAndre Washington are still there. They're going to take the pass catching away from him. I'm not a big fan of Marshawn this year.
All right, my next guy, Joe Mixon.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is Giovanni Bernard, Jeremy Hill. Like, that's enough said. Like, you drafted both those guys in the last 3 years to be your running back, and yes, they struggled last year, but it's only 2 years ago that Jeremy Hill balled out in Cincinnati. And it's only 3 years ago that Giovanni Bernard balled out in Cincinnati. Like, I'm not ready to give up on those guys, and I don't think Cincinnati will be able to either.
I'm with Jason right there. Too many guys in the backfield. He'll not get as many carries as a lot of people think. He's the 25th best running back on ESPN. That is way too high.
See, the one I have is on ESPN a few days ago is 23. That's even higher. And I had him at 53 overall. I can't buy a rookie potential third string running back at 53 overall.
If you want to get a lot of production and 25th best running back, Joe Mixon's not the guy. You're not going to get a lot of carries.
Take this for what you want, but the coaches have had great reports, had him out of camp. You can take it how you want, but
I mean, I feel like you hear that with everybody though. Like,
Yeah, I
I mean,
know.
you're always going to hear something. And I think obviously that's not being generated from nothing, but just don't draft him because of those only. Like,
Right.
remember, there's Bernard and
do you think he'll start?
No.
eventually maybe, but not week one.
Not week one? Okay.
This is also the thing.
This
I
I
know it's sad, but he's already not a fan favorite for
Yeah.
what he did in college.
Yeah.
I know that's sad, but he's not a fan favorite out there. That might play in his head a little bit. I would not take the risk on Joe Mixon.
The other thing is, if it's a dynasty league, I'm taking in first round. If not
Right.
second round, I think potential through the roof. Not this year. Let him kick Bernard and Hill out of Cincinnati, I guess.
Well, I'm going to go with Spencer Ware as mine. I like Kareem Hunt a lot this year. I think Kareem Hunt could take touches away. I'm not drafting Spencer Ware for where he is at. He's a good running back, but I'm going to pass on him.
Yeah, I also have Spencer Ware as one of my reaches. Kareem Hunt is coming for his job. I think he might even start week one, like Zach said earlier. He's great, and Spencer Ware didn't have any insane production with all of his carries last year. I like Kareem Hunt more than Spencer Ware this year. Stay away from Spencer Ware.
I have the same thing.
My only thing is, I don't know. I think Kareem Hunt might be one of those guys that everyone talks about that doesn't actually do anything. Like, I feel like there's always one or two guys every year that everyone says, oh, he's living up to the hype in training camp, and he's going to be so good, and be ready. But then he doesn't actually do anything. Like, he's fine, but, like, I don't know. I don't get me wrong. I wouldn't draft Spencer Ware either that early. I feel like in general, like, not from fantasy, but, like, an NFL perspective, I just don't know if he's going to be that much better than, like, I don't know if the reviews that we're getting out of Kansas City are that great.
I have Christian McCaffrey here. Honestly, well, okay, ESPN has him as the 15th best running back. I don't see that. I think he could be a potential flex, but he's not the 15th best running back in the league, or in fantasy.
I checked a few days ago, and they had him at running back 21 and 51 overall. If he is
It was right now. I think he's 35 overall.
Okay, I could see that.
I have it right here, and it's running back 21 at 51 overall. And with that,
I would take that.
I have him as a steal there. That's where I have him when I looked it up. But I mean, there's just a difference in numbers there. I'm taking him. I mean, just getting him to McCaffrey right now. I'm taking him in the top 20 if it's me. I really like as a top 20 running back. Sorry,
Okay.
top 20 running back.
What
easy.
round?
What's his ADP right now, Dylan?
Right now, it says 34.9.
So that's
is the
third
average on
round. I'm
ESPN.
taking in third round. I'm taking him late second or late third. I'm telling you, I love McCaffrey. I think
Late
he-
second.
Yeah, I think he finishes a top 10 back, PPR top 15 real back.
No, I also don't like McCaffrey though. I mean, Jonathan Stewart's still there, and like I said earlier, it's not Cam's style to dump the
he's
ball
gonna
off.
have to. With Curtis, they drafted Curtis Samuel and Christian McCaffrey for that exact reason because he just came off shoulder surgery. He cannot just rail it deep every time, and he lost Ted Ginn, his speedster, out deep. He's gonna have to go. And with
I don't
Greg
think he'll be
Olsen,
good at it though.
He's gonna. How can you not be good at dumping it off? It's not hard to dump off the ball. You drop back, look deep, and then check it down to your running back. Like, it's not hard to check it down deep. Or check it down and not go deep. I think it's gonna fit Cam perfectly, and that's why when we talked about the quarterbacks, I think Cam is gonna be a phenomenal bounce back guy because he's got such great running backs.
All right, let's move on to the next one. I have Ty Montgomery as one of mine. The Packers drafted 3 running backs: Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones, and Devontae Mays. I don't think Ty Montgomery is going to stay the guy. He might get the pass catching duties at the running back position, but I do not see him as a solid a starting running back in fantasy.
I'm going to go with LeGarrette Blount. I think ESPN's ADP has him way too high. People might be drafting him and thinking that, oh, he's going to get a bunch of touchdowns like he did in New England. He's not in New England no more. He's on the Jets. And I don't have confidence in LeGarrette Blount this year.
He's in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah, Philadelphia. That is a great situation. Sorry, my bad. He is in a great situation, but I don't think you're going to get that stud touchdown performance like you do get him most weeks. I'm not
I
going
have
LeGarrette
LeGarrette
Blount.
Blount as a steal.
I don't like him.
I love him. I think Wentz can't drop back and throw it 50 times. He's going to have to hand the ball off, and we know Blount still has juice. It's different than with him and Marshall, where he didn't retire and didn't stop. He's older, yes, but he is a tank. He led the league in touchdowns as a running back last year, and I just love what he's doing. I have him as a steal and a top 10 running back this year. I think LeGarrette Blount balls.
Who else is in
Wait,
the
top
back?
10 running back?
Darren Sproles.
Ryan
And Ryan Matthews,
Matthews.
you can't stay on the field for more than a game without getting hurt.
Wait, you have him as top 10
Yeah.
running back?
LeGarrette Blount, yes. Him and him and Leonard Fournette have top 10.
Where you
No
taking
way.
LeGarrette Blount?
As a top 10 running back, so I'm taking him. I mean, I'm not in fantasy because no one else thinks no one else has that type of
Yeah, so if you
value
wait a
on
little
him.
longer.
I'm going to wait. But if it's me, like if it was 10 of me drafting, I'm taking him in the second or third round because
Oh
I like
my.
what he's bringing. And I mean, and the one I looked at, he's 77 overall. I'm taking him at 60 to make sure I get him because I think he's going to be a stud type situation.
My third reach is Mark Ingram. He's the 15th best according to ESPN. Adrian Peterson was acquired by the Saints. I think he's going to take a lot of carries away from Mark Ingram, and Adrian Peterson will eventually be the starter and play more than him.
I have Bila Powell. I like Powell. Don't get me wrong, but I think he is not the 18th best running back on ESPN. So I'm in 20 range.
I have a Bilal Powell too. The Jets are so dysfunctional. I mean, it's kind of like Jordan Howard, where they're just going to load the box and make whoever their quarterback is, whether it's McCown, Petty, or Hackenberg, make them throw the ball. If they beat you throwing the ball, all right, I think you're going to survive because it won't happen. I'm not buying Bilal Powell. I saw him at 38 overall, running back 16. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Bilal Powell either, but one of my last reach is going to be LaShawn McCoy. He's at the top of the tier 2 running backs, which I think are all pretty similar, and you'll hear me talk about this in my steals later. I think very similar production all the way down, and you can get a guy like Melvin Gordon or DeMarco Murray about 6 to 8 picks later and get kind of the same exact production that Shady will give you.
My last reach is Danny Woodhead of Baltimore. He's the 20th best on ESPN, but Kenneth Dixon will most likely get all the carries out there and be their guy. Danny Woodhead will just be a situation back.
My last one is Robert Kelly. I'm kind of a Samaje Perine fan. I'm not huge on Robert Kelly this year, so.
Mine's Jordan Howard, but we kind of already talked about it. I just think his value is too high right now, but I think he'll still be solid.
All right, let's
Wait,
move.
no, I have one.
Okay.
I have Jay Ajayi. ESPN has him as a running back 1. Honestly, I can't take somebody that inconsistent, as he did most of his damage last year in only 4 games.
All right, let's move on to our running back steals now. Jason, who is your first steal?
My first steal is Samaje Perine. The way I looked at it was I went from 5 to 1. I'm going 5 to 1, my worst, my least valuable steal, number 1. Samaje Perine, he's competing for the job immediately, and the coaches seemed impressed during OTAs. At 105 overall, running back 42, he's a great guy to have on your bench and hopefully ball out the second half of the season.
Dan?
I have Kenneth Dixon. He has a 4-game suspension, but when he returns, I think he could end up being the main back.
My first steal is Adrian Peterson. I already addressed it earlier with Mark Ingram being a reach. Adrian Peterson's going to get carries at the end of the year and be the starter.
I have Todd Gurley. He's right now using ESPN's ADP. He's about 4 to 5 running back slots, a little too low for me. I like him as a running back 1 this year, as a potential top 10 or 11 running back, so he's one of my steals.
I also have that.
My first steal is going to be Jamal Charles. I'm not a big believer in C.J. Anderson or Devontae Booker, and based on his name alone, I think he's worth a late-round pick when you're just trying to find boomer bust guys anyway. I like Jamal Charles.
I'm not as big on Jamal Charles. I think he's older and washed up. I don't know. I've never been a big Jamal Charles fan. I thought he was just shifty and didn't have that much value. I mean, obviously he was good, but I wasn't a big fan. My guy, I already talked about it, LeGarrette Blount. I think he's a top 10 running back, and that's just at 77 overall. I like
Wow.
LeGarrette Blount. I think he's going to
That's
ball
crazy.
out in Philadelphia behind a good offensive line. Carson Wentz is going to draw a lot of the attention. Why not dump it off to the guy that led the league in touchdowns? He's going to ball out in fantasy.
All right, I'll agree with Jason here on the Jamal Charles situation. So I have C.J. Anderson as a steal here. I think he will end up being the number one back even with Charles there. He was putting up 12.4 points per game before his injury.
I already addressed it. Todd Gurley is one of my steals. I think he'll have a bounce back season.
Yeah, I have Mike Gillislee. Starting running back in New England. We saw how LeGarrette Blount did last year. Amazing amount of touchdowns. I think Gillislee, he won't return with the same amount of production that LeGarrette Blount had, but I think he'll have close to it.
One of my steals is going to be Kareem Hunt. I think he's coming for Spencer Ware. He's going to get that job eventually. And Andy Reid has some running back friendly systems. So I really like Kareem Hunt. Even if he does stay behind Spencer Ware, I think he will still provide decent value. But obviously, if he gets that running back one position in Kansas City, I think he'll be really good this year.
I have the same thing. At Toledo, he was a big back going downfield, and I think he'll have a good season with the Kansas City Chiefs.
My number 3, I went Paul Perkins. He's running back 27, 62 overall on ESPN. He's a lead back in an explosive offense. I'll take it at 62 overall. 6th, 7th round, I'll take a lead back in a great offense.
Yeah, I have that as well. I think Paul Perkins being a little undervalued.
Yeah.
Starting running back. I like that.
I have Carlos Hyde. From what I was looking at earlier, he was at 23. That's in flex range, so I would have him as a solid running back too.
Yeah, I like that.
As he had almost 1,000 yards in 13 games last year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do running back too, but I do like him as a flex, a really good flex. My next steal is going to be Tevin Coleman. Maybe a little bit of IU bias, but I think he's definitely the best handcuff in fantasy football and is very involved in the passing game. Even if he does stay the backup, I still like him as a flex candidate.
Yeah, he's one of the very few backup running backs who still have value, even if their starter does not get injured. Like, he can be a backup and still have production, so I like that.
And number 2, I went Christian McCaffrey. We obviously kind of talked about the difference in rankings we had him. When I looked at it, he was 51 overall. I have him finishing as a top 15 back with a perfect scheme. And if it's PPR, if you guys are in a PPR league, I'm going top 10 with him. I love Christian McCaffrey, and I think he's going to ball out in Carolina as an NFL player and a fantasy player.
I have Spencer Ware here, ranked 16th in total points last year, so I think he is higher than 21.
I have Jay Ajayi at number 2. Number 9 on ESPN. I think he'll have a good season, make up for what he did last year.
Yeah, I had Kareem Hunt. We've already talked about him a lot, so.
I had Isaiah Crowell. There's a little competition in Cleveland, and Hugh Jackson really wanted to run the ball more last year. He said he thinks about it every day, how he should have ran Isaiah Crowell more. I really like him as a flex guy this year. Isaiah Crowell, solid running back.
Yeah, my number 1 is DeMarco Murray. It sounds weird as him as a running back 9, 16 overall. I think he has potential to finish as a number 3 running back in fantasy. Mariota and Murray are going to carry an explosive offense and a powerful duo.
Are you worried about Derrick Henry?
Not really. I think he's more of a third down goal line back. So yeah, I might take away a few touchdowns, but I think DeMarco Murray is going to be an easy 1,000-yard back and double-digit touchdowns, in my opinion.
Yeah, I had the same thing. My number 1 was also DeMarco Murray. Last year, I drafted him. A lot of people made fun of him at the year he had. So I think he'll have another good season.
I have CJ Prosise. You never really know if Eddie Lacy will stay healthy. And even if he does, I think Prosise will get a lot of looks as a receiver out of the backfield.
Yeah, I had Amir Abdullah. We've already talked about him a lot. But I think this discussion that we had earlier was not even drafting Amir Abdullah. I think that's crazy in my mind. I think you should get Amir Abdullah with a late pick, and he's starting running back. See how he does.
For me, I'm going to say the last of the Tier 2 running backs available. For my Tier 2, I have LaShawn McCoy, Jordan Howard, Devontae Freeman, Melvin Gordon, and DeMarco Murray. All of those guys are really close together to me, and they're going to probably spread out over about pick 7 to 8 to about 18. I think if you can get the last one of those at around pick 18, I think you're getting really good value because I see them all as really similar.
That'd be amazing value. If I get one of those,
yeah,
that'd be great.
I think the last one available will be really good value in this year's draft.
Would you? Oh, we're gonna get that in a little bit. So
all right, let's go. Now let's rank our top 10 running backs for this year. Starting off at number 10, Jason, who is your number 10 running back?
Mine's Garrett Blount. I already talked about him. I think he's the ball out this year. Perfect system in Philly where he's got to take the load off of Wentz. I think Garrett Blount balls, leads the league in touchdowns again, and that's close with Elgin.
Leads the league in touchdowns. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I have Leonard Fournette at 10. I said earlier that he has the potential to do what Zeke and Gurley did. When Burles is struggling, I think Fournette will pick him up.
I have Todd Gurley at number 10. He'll have a bounce back season. Jared Goff is finally going to be experienced and maybe help him out a little bit.
Yeah, I was between Todd Gurley and Leonard Fournette. I chose Todd Gurley. I loved him last year. Obviously, had a disappointing season, but I like him this year as a top 10 running back.
You're going to go with him again?
Yeah, in the second round.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not worth a first-round pick, but I also have Todd Gurley at number 10. He's the guy in L.A., still a solid offensive line, and I like Todd Gurley.
You mean God Gurley?
At number 9, I went Leonard Fournette. Dan already talked about him. I think we're both pretty high on Fournette.
Yeah, I went with Jordan Howard at 9. Had 14.5 points per game in the games that he started last year. He has the potential to do what he did last year. I don't think he will be as good, but I think he has the potential to do it again.
I have the same thing, Jordan Howard at 9, but Mike Lennon has to have a good year for him to do well.
All right, I have at number 9 DeMarco Murray. I think that Derrick Henry could come for him this year. There are some questions on injuries. He's injured quite a bit throughout his season, but I think he's still a top 10 running back.
My number 9 is going to be Jay Ajayi. We saw him come on the scene last year. He was fantastic, and I think he will continue that this year for Miami.
Yeah, number 8, I got Melvin Gordon. Zach, you were right about him last year. You missed with Gurley, but were right about Melvin Gordon. I like him this year, and I think the Chargers are going to improve offensively.
I like Todd Gurley at 8. Might not do what he did last year, or what he did in 2015. Sorry, but he will still be a top 10 running back this year.
I also have Melvin Gordon at number 8, like Jason. Melvin Gordon will have a good season. Chargers might have an even better year than they expect.
I got Jordan Howard at number 8. He's a little scary. Could have a Todd Gurley type of year, but I think he's still a top 10 running back.
I also have Melvin Gordon at 8. I like Gordon this year for the Chargers. They're going to have a better year than they did last year, and he's going to get a lot of carries in that offense.
Yeah, I'm at 7. I got Jay Ajayi. So Dylan and I, we flipped. I like Ajayi. Dylan kind of already talked about it. I like him in Miami.
You guys already talked about Melvin Gordon. Had over 1,400 total yards last year, and in my opinion, is the last of the Tier 2 running backs.
I have the same thing as Jason, Jay Ajayi at number 7.
I also had Jay Ajayi at number 7.
I have DeMarco Murray at number 7. I like him in the Titans offense this year. Only concern, I guess, would be his injuries and Derrick Henry behind him. If he starts playing bad, Derrick Henry could take away some carries.
Yep, I've got LaShawn McCoy at my number 6. I really like what he's doing, and I think he's going to be a stud at the running back for the Buffalo. Only really productive offense there.
I have Devontae Freeman at 6. Has had 2 great seasons now, and this will be his 3rd.
My number 6 is DeMarco Murray. Another good year for Tennessee, especially with Marcus Mariota getting some experience.
Yeah, I had Devontae Freeman. I touched on him a little bit, but he's a machine.
I have Jordan Howard at number 6. He'll get most of the carries in this Chicago offense next year. Their offense is going to be revolving around him, so I like him at number 6.
At number 5, I like Devontae Freeman. I'm really a fan of his game this year. I think everyone thought he was going to be a bust last year, and then he wasn't, and I think he's going to be a stud again this year.
I have DeMarco Murray at 5. Was top 5 among running backs in scoring last year, and I think he will be again.
I have Devontae Freeman at number 5. I think I'll have a good year. Matt Ryan will throw it around, and that'll help Freeman.
Yeah, I have Melvin Gordon at number 5. I was a huge believer in him last year. People were hating on me. I had him in almost all my leagues. I got him late in like the 7th or 8th round. That paid off a lot, but I like him again this year. I think he'll be a top 5 running back.
I have LaShawn McCoy at number 5. He'll be the guy in Buffalo this year again. Really their only offense, and very involved in the passing game. I think he is number 5 running back this year.
Number 4, I like DeMarco Murray. I already talked about it. I think he could finish top 3, but I think he finishes right outside that at top 4.
I have LaShawn McCoy at 4. Had over 1,400 yards from scrimmage last year. He's been up this high for a while, and it just seems like he does not decline.
I also have LaShawn McCoy at number 4.
Once again, another LaShawn McCoy at number 4. I think, and like I'm having trouble deciding between LaShawn McCoy and Melvin Gordon. You could take the youth and Melvin Gordon, but I think those are two similar running backs that go around the same time.
Do you guys like McCoy or DeMarco Murray better? That's where I'm kind of between. Like, I'm not putting Gordon there, but I'm between DeMarco and LaShawn McCoy.
I like McCoy a little bit better, but I said earlier.
Who's the second back?
I like McCoy too.
What?
Who's the second back in Buffalo?
Jonathan Williams, I think.
Yeah, I mean they lost Mike Gills.
It's just because of McCoy's injury history that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Right, the Derrick Henry behind DeMarco Murray.
Right, I definitely.
So you guys like Shady more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a little bit.
I mean, this is actually for my fantasy league. I need to know because I'm between DeMarco and Shady McCoy, and I don't know which one to go. But okay.
I like Shady a little bit more because definitely no competition. But like I said earlier, I think all the tier 2 running backs are pretty similar. So I think you can't really go wrong with any of those guys. But my number 4 is going to be Devontae Freeman. I like the Falcons again this year, and I think he'll be heavily involved in that offense.
Yeah, my number 3 is Zeke. He's a stud. He bought out last year. I think he continues his production.
Yeah, I think we all have Zeke here.
Yeah, number 3. The only concern is his suspension potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all have the big 3 running backs in the top 3.
It's just David Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, and I'm pretty
Right.
sure Dylan and I have Le'Veon Bell
Yeah.
and John, Dan, and Zach of Le'Veon.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you rewind that if you want to hear our discussion about Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson.
I think those 3 running backs are pretty safe to go 1, 2, and 3 in the draft, right?
I think Zeke is the only one there. I mean, honestly,
They're
that's why I'm saying I think
definitely
DeMarco could. That's why I think DeMarco could come in is in place of Zeke, but just because I think the Cowboys have a tough schedule.
Wait, so you wouldn't take Antonio Brown? Like, so if you have problems with Zeke, you
no,
wouldn't
taking him. I'm not
Zeke at
taking
3?
Yeah, I'm saying at the end of the year, looking back, I think DeMarco could finish as a number 3 back.
So would you go with the big 3 running backs and the big 3 receivers, which are
I'd go David, Le'Veon, Antonio Brown, Zeke. I'd take AB
and then
ahead of
Julio and Odell before you grab like the next running back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that'll end our running backs episode. And there's a little bit of a preview of the receivers. That'll be out on Wednesday. That'd be Thursday, I think. Because today is Wednesday. Thursday or Friday, I don't know which day. It'll be coming out. But either way, tweet us your fantasy questions. Just tag us or use hashtag SportsSermonFantasyFootball, and we will answer your fantasy questions. So tweet those at us, but also answer those polls that we're putting out there. Today's was who is the best running back, Le'Veon or David Johnson. So yeah, keep following us on Twitter, and make sure you stay tuned for more college football and fantasy football.
Yeah, make sure to follow us on Twitter, answer our polls, and tweet us your fantasy questions. The link to that is in the description. And if you want to see the rest of our fantasy football podcast, make sure to hit that subscribe button. So thank you guys for listening, and we will see you tomorrow.